dark, snowy night on February 3, 1972, when the Durham, a well-respected family in North Carolina, were brutally murdered in their own home. The case remained unsolved for over 5 decades, causing fear and unease in the community as people wondered who could have committed such a heinous crime. There are some mysteries in this world that seem to be shrouded in darkness, their secrets hidden away from prying eyes and curious minds. Finally, investigators were able to solve the triple homicide after more than 50 years in 2022. Could this case have been linked to organized crime? How were police able to solve this case? We'll delve into a case that remained unsolved for 50 long years until justice was finally served in 2022. But first, if you are new to the channel or haven't subscribed yet, please consider clicking the subscribe button as it helps us and motivates us to create more content for you. So without further ado, let's dive right into this mystery. Today's case takes us to the beautiful city of Boone, North Carolina, which is a picturesque mountain town located in the northwest region of the state. Nestled in the heart of the Blue Ridge Mountains, it is a popular destination for outdoor enthusiasts and nature lovers. Boone is home to the Appalachian State University, which brings a youthful energy to the town. Visitors can explore the charming downtown area, which is filled with unique shops, restaurants, and galleries. Outdoor activities abound in the area with opportunities for hiking, biking, skiing, and more. Boone's natural beauty, rich history, and vibrant culture make it a mesmerizing destination in North Carolina. Bryce Durham, the son of Coyam Durham and Callie Devon Crabb Durham, was born on November 12, 1926, in the beautiful state of North Carolina. He was a man of many talents and experiences who lived a meaningful life. Bryce's siblings, Ralph Elder Ham and Gail Durham, were an important part of his life while growing up. He graduated from Appalachian State University with a degree in history and physical education in 1941 and went on to teach for a year at Pleasant School in Wilkes County after World War II. But his career path took a different turn, and for 6 years before settling in Boone, Durham operated the Mount Area Auto Loan and Sales Finance Company. Before that, he was a part of the Home Finance Company for 13 years, gaining valuable expertise in finance and business. Despite his varied professional background, Bruce Durham remained a loyal member of the Boone community until his tragic and untimely death in 1972. Virginia, born on October 24, 1927, was the daughter of Calvin M. Church and Virginia Lucenia Eller Church. She was one of 5 siblings, and the other 4 were Winnie Levon Church Elliott, Doshea Church, Duffy Pierce, and Rena Marcello Bungardner Walsh, who were all integral parts of her life as she grew up. In 1951, Bryce and Virginia got married, and later that year, Virginia gave birth to a baby girl, and they named their daughter Ginny Sue Durham. On May 2, 1953, they were blessed with a son and gave him the name Bobby Joe Durham. They were a loving and tight-knit family. Ginny Sue was later married to the love of her life, Troy Hall. Nestled in the mountainous terrain of Boone, North Carolina, the Durham family had found their heaven. After moving from Wilkes to Mount Erie, the family of 3 decided to start fresh and settled in Boone in 1969. Their residence, 187 Clyde Thompson Road, was perched atop a steep driveway just off the 105 bypass. Ginny Sue Hall lived a mere 4 miles away with her husband. It was the perfect place for the Durhams, away from the hustle and bustle of life. On the winter evening of February 3, 1972, in the sleepy town of Boone, North Carolina, the weather was unrelenting. The frigid air whipped through the trees, sending snowflakes swirling in a chaotic dance. The Durham family hunkered down in their home on Clyde Townend Road, seeking refuge from the biting cold. Bruce Durham, the owner of a Buick dealership, and his wife, Virginia, who was a librarian, had relocated to Boone from Mount Airy's just a year prior. Their son, Bobby, was a freshman at Appalachian State University. The family was known for their hard work, their reserved nature, and their preference for solitude. However, as the wind howled outside, something sinister was brewing inside. A tragedy was about to unfold that would shake Boone to its core. Unbeknownst to the Durham family, their lives were about to change forever. On a snowy night on February 3, 1972, Bryce and Virginia Durham were at home with their son, Bobby, when a horrific tragedy struck them. The Hall family sat cozily in their split-level home at peace and content. But their peace was soon shattered by a phone call that sent shivers down their spines. Virginia Durham's panicked voice on the other end of the line conveyed the urgency of the situation, her voice trembling as she whispered to her son-in-law, Justin Troy Hall, about several intruders who had broken into her home. But before anyone could make sense of the call ended abruptly, leaving Hall wondering if it was just a cruel prank. Despite Hall's doubts about the validity of the call, his wife, Ginny, was overcome with worry for her family's safety. They hurriedly made their way to the car, which stubbornly refused to start as the road up to the Durham house was treacherous. They couldn't make it on foot. Luckily, a neighbor and private detective, Cecil Small, agreed to drive them up there. Ginny remained in the car as Hall and their neighbor Cecil went inside. What they found inside the house was a scene of chaos. The house had been ransacked and the sound of running water filled the air. But as they made their way to the ground floor bathroom, the true horror of the situation was revealed. There in the cramped space lay the lifeless, fully clothed bodies of Bryce, Bobby, and Virginia Durham in the bathtub, their heads submerged and the water still running. The phone line had been ripped from the wall, leaving the house eerily silent. With no other options left, Hall called the authorities at around 11 p.m. from the neighbor's apartment to investigate the gruesome scene before them. In a matter of minutes, a flurry of law enforcement officers arrived, their flashing lights piercing through the dark of the snowy night. As investigators stepped into the Durham home, their eyes scanned the once tidy interior that now looked like a tornado had ripped through it. Drawers were pulled out, clothing was strewn across the floor, and pictures hung at odd angles or lay shattered on the ground. Closets had been ransacked, and the furniture was knocked over as if the perpetrators had been searching for something in a frenzied state. The officers' eyes then fell on the torn sofa set where the Durhams had been peacefully enjoying a late-night snack and their favorite TV show. The sight of the chaos and violence left a heavy feeling in the pit of their stomachs as they knew they were in for a long and grueling investigation. The television still flickered, with 3 half-filled glasses and plates of partially eaten food left abandoned on a coffee table. Further, they noticed something peculiar on the kitchen table, a half-eaten baked chicken, which indicated that the crime happened while the Durhams were enjoying their meal together. At first, it appeared to be a simple robbery gone wrong, but the presence of untouched valuables raised suspicions. A money bag bulging with cash sat undisturbed, a testament to the fact that robbery was not the motive behind the heinous crime. The agents from the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation knew they had to act fast. They carefully transported the bodies to Chapel Hill for an autopsy. The results were grim but not surprising. Dr. Paige Hudson, the state medical examiner, confirmed the cause of the Durham family's death. Virginia died of strangulation while the 2 men had been strangled and drowned. As the investigation into the Durham family murders began, agents from the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation descended upon the Durham residence, determined to uncover the truth behind the brutal murders. With precision and determination, they combed through every inch of the house, carefully cataloging every clue and piece of evidence they found. As the investigation deepened, the team grew, swelling to 7 or 8 agents by Saturday morning, but that was only the beginning. To unlock the secrets of the crime, they called upon the expertise of 2 top physicists from the State Crime Laboratory who arrived in Boone late Saturday night to join the hunt for answers. For hours, they pored over the evidence, piecing together the clues and working tirelessly to unravel the mystery of the Durham murders. As the investigation proceeded, witnesses came forward with vital information. One eyewitness reported seeing a green and white SUV leaving the Durham residence just after 10:30 p.m. that fateful night. But the vehicle disappeared in seconds. The North Carolina Highway Patrol launched a search for the SUV and found it abandoned on the side of the road a few miles away. The engine was still running, windshield wipers slapping against the snow and doors firmly closed. The investigators realized that the killers had used the SUV as their escape car. It was later discovered that Bryce Durham had taken the SUV from his dealership to get home in treacherous weather conditions. As the police searched the car, they discovered a bag of silver, presumably taken from the Durham residence. This crucial clue gave investigators hope that it would lead them to the perpetrators of this heinous crime. The investigation into the Durham murders was a challenging journey through the murky waters of suspicion and speculation. The list of possible suspects was long and winding, with multiple twists and turns along the way. Justin Troy Hall, the estranged son-in-law of Bryson and Virginia Durham, was among those scrutinized by authorities. A group of men from Asheville also came under the microscope, arrested and charged in connection with the killings, only to be set free due to a lack of evidence. Rumors and whispers of a contract killing hung heavy in the air, fueled by the precision of the knots used to bind the victims. As the years rolled by, leads became cold. The Watauga County Sheriff's Department, Boone Police Department, and North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation toiled tirelessly, yet the trail grew colder with each passing day. It seemed as though the answer to this brutal crime would forever remain a mystery. For over 45 years, the Durham triple murder case remained an unsolved mystery, with leads drying up and investigators struggling to piece together the clues. But in 2019, a glimmer of hope emerged after a conversation between a man named Shane Burt and a sheriff's deputy in Georgia. Shane Burt was the son of a suspected killer, Billy Sunday, who died in prison in 2017 while serving a life sentence for 3 murders committed in the 1970s. Shane Burt was helping with research for an upcoming book by Phil Hudgens when he shared a shocking story his father had once told him during a prison visit, a story of murder and mayhem that took place in the snowy mountains of North Carolina. According to Burt, his father had admitted to killing 3 people during a heavy snowstorm and had narrowly avoided capture. The news sent shockwaves through the White County Sheriff's Office, which immediately reached out to their counterparts in the Watauga County Sheriff's Office to share the information. This conversation led to a renewed investigation into the Durham murders case and brought new hope for justice for the victims and their families. The wheels of justice never stopped turning, and in the case of the Durham murders, they turned slowly but towards the truth. With new leads to follow, investigators wasted no time in tracking down Billy Wayne Davis, a known associate of Billy Burt, who was already serving a life sentence in Georgia for his previous crimes. The Sheriff's Department conducted 3 separate sessions in September 2019, October 2020, and August 2021, spanning 2 years. Each one with a crucial piece of the puzzle in determining who was responsible for the heinous crimes. It was the corroboration of evidence from these interviews as well as from 2 other sources that finally led to the revelation of the truth. Through meticulous evidence gathering and careful cross-referencing, the investigators were able to piece together a shocking connection to a case from across state lines. The Fleming case of 1973 involved a network known as the Dixie Mafia, a loosely organized network of criminals that had terrorized the Southeast with their violent crimes in the 60s and 70s. This case had similar circumstances to the Durham murders, and names began to surface that linked the 2 together. According to officials, Billy Wayne Davis, who is 81 years old and a resident of a correctional facility in Augusta, Georgia, is the only surviving member of the notorious Dixie Mafia. He is currently serving a life sentence for murder at the Augusta State Medical Prison in Georgia and has been in prison since 1986. According to investigators, he revealed details about a hired hit in the North Carolina mountains that went awry during a heavy snowstorm. Davis admitted to acting as the group's getaway driver during the Durham family murders, claiming that it was the other 3 men, Billy Sunday Burt, Bobby Jean Gaddis, and Charles David Reed, who entered the house that fateful night. Davis refused to reveal any other information about them. Despite the breakthrough in the Durham family murder case in 2022, justice may never be fully served. With 3 of the 4 suspects already deceased, charges are not expected to be filed for the killings. The 4th suspect, 81-year-old Billy Wayne Davis, is currently serving a life sentence in a Georgia prison, and he is not expected to see freedom anytime soon. The idea of justice being served may be nothing more than a mere fantasy for the victims' families, who have waited for 5 long decades for answers. The tragedy of this cold case is compounded by the fact that the identities of those who ordered the hit remain unknown. For the surviving family members, the lingering question of why their loved ones were targeted may haunt them forever. Special Agent in charge for the Northwestern District, North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation Chris Laws praised the diligent work of all the professionals and community members who have contributed their efforts to the case over the years. Jenny Durham, the sole surviving member of the Durham family, was full of gratitude as she expressed her appreciation in the press conference held in 2022. To the dedicated individuals who worked tirelessly to solve her family's 50-year-old cold case. She acknowledged the progress made by these investigators who spent countless days and weekends solving the case. Jenny Durham was especially grateful to Lynn Hagman, the sheriff of Watauga County, who remained committed to bringing closure to her family. She also expressed her gratitude to Wade Colvard, a special agent with the State Bureau of Investigation, Carolyn Johnson, captain of investigations for Watauga County Sheriff's Office, and Charles Whitman, a retired FBI special agent who continued to work on the case even after retirement. For Jenny Durham, their unwavering dedication and friendship meant the world to her, and it gave her hope in the midst of difficult years. It's a testament to the human spirit's power to persevere even in the face of seemingly insurmountable obstacles. Watauga County Sheriff Lynn Hagman also extends his thanks to all the agencies, law enforcement officials, investigators, and agents who have worked on the case for decades. The resolution of the Durham case was a much-needed turning point for those affected by the tragic events of 1972. The Watauga County Sheriff's Office acknowledges the numerous individuals who have played a role in bringing the case to a close and expresses their appreciation for the efforts of everyone who helped find answers for the Durham family. For Rufus Edmonston, former North Carolina Attorney General, it became a personal preoccupation. He met with Rice Durham's mother, who had begged him to find the killers, and it broke his heart to see her die without finding closure. "I didn't want to let her down," he said. "It was the mystery of the mountains for years and years, and Edmonston was frustrated he couldn't solve it himself. But now, thanks to the tireless work of Sheriff Hagman and his team, the case has been solved." For Edmonston, it was a great relief, and he expresses his gratitude to the investigators who made it happen. The son of one of the perpetrators, Shane Burt, wants to apologize to every single victim of his father, Billy Sunday Burt. Despite his father being a murderous man who killed dozens of people, Shane is not trying to cover up his heinous acts. Instead, he wants to provide closure to as many people as he can. The case may have taken 50 years to be solved, but everyone involved showed dedication and commitment to justice, which is a testament to their perseverance. Despite the lack of closure, the fact that the case has been solved after 50 years brings some measure of relief and the hope that future generations will be able to rest easy, knowing that justice has prevailed, even if only partially. We hope that you've enjoyed this gripping story of how this cold case was solved after 50 years. The Durham family can finally find peace and closure after over 4 decades of waiting. Thanks to the hard work and dedication of law enforcement officials, investigators, and community members, justice has been served. The persistence and commitment of those involved in this case remind us that it is never too late to seek the truth and find answers. What are your thoughts on this case? Were you impressed by the way it was finally solved? Share your opinions in the comments section below.